Hello and welcome to another uh, packed episode of Comic Book Business News, the only show for comic book reviews. On last week's show, we were from Haddon Heights Comic Con. This week's show is reviews of the best comic books in the last 6 months. Now, this comic book, I gotta show it as an antique Captain Marvel's Adventures. I don't know which number, let me see. 145. This is an interesting Captain Marvel. On Captain Marvel Adventures, there is not a lot of um, word balloons like most comics, but on this comic book, as you say, there is like some Archie comic books, some word balloons. So it's kind of like in the guise that Captain Marvel was an all ages comic books. It's basically disguised for younger viewers, but also teenagers. So this comic book gets 2 thumbs up. This is a comic book from Wizard World. It's Vampires of New Jersey. It's basically vampires versus the mob. It's a very cool comic book from a friend. I believe the friend's name is Simpson. And I met him at a local comic book show at Wizard World, and his comic books are actually very cool. And I would suggest you check them up. And it's vampires versus the mob is an old concept, but I kind of like the artwork. Here's one I don't like. Paxman. It is from the makers of Shalom Man and Israeli Defense Force comic books. This is actually for a product. I think it was just a bad attempt at ripping off the Silver Surfer. This is just it's like an inline scooter Silver Surfer. It is really kind of. It's even Paxman is kind of clever, but like what am I knowing my Latin reading the comic book? It's kind of bad. Spawn number 92, classic issue of Spawn. Sort of the end of the Al Simmons run of Spawn. He's kind of like still serving hell, yet trying to destroy it. And this is like one of the last issues of Spawn with Al Simmons. The White Spawn is coming up. This is Spawn at the end of issue. This is before Spawn meets Celestine in issue 100. Free comic book day. Lady Mechanica. Hey, she's a hot, which is a good concept in comic books. Hot chicks, hot bitches, hot bitches with big tits. Hey, this is a cool comic book. I highly recommend it. Grim Fairy Tales Genesis. Hey, Grim Fairy Tales tells tales that should be told about weird creatures named after the Book of Genesis. This is a weird creature who kind of looks like Ghost Rider as a knight. I sort of recommend this creature. This is one of the best comic books I've read in the past couple. This is Alexander Octavio Cortez, the comic book. If you are a Democrat or a Democratic Socialist, this is a must read. This is called Freshman Class, and I'm not going to hurl, but I gotta say that she's like the hottest bitch from Devil's Due right now, because I actually want the Captain America Golden Age cover and the Wonder Woman cover. I had to settle for my ordinary cover. I was disappointed I couldn't get all three, but I'm on the look for I buy it off the internet. I fill in my gaps. Basically, this is This has multiple. This is an anthology basically of Octavio Cortez shorties, and has crossword puzzles, and it's an interesting read for those who like Octavio Cortez and the Freshman Class. Like Captain Marvel, this is Shazam, the latest Shazam. This is Shazam issue 6. And Shazam issue 6 is a very, very cool comic book. And for you, this is to enjoy. And I always recommend Captain Marvel all the time. So, must read True Believer. The symbiote Spider-Man is a fantastic friend of mine. Yes, this is symbiotes. Yes, this is Spider-Man. This is a brand new Spider-Man comic book from your friends, yours truly. And I would recommend you read this comic book, perhaps to enjoy. The Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man-a-Rama. Another Spider-Man, radioactive Spider-Man. I don't exactly remember the story, but for you to enjoy. Action Comic Books won 2012. Very pivotal issue of Action lately. And perhaps you should check out the comic book and read the latest from Action Comic Books in the world of Superman and that fantastic son of Siegel and Schuster and the mythical planet Krypton. It is let me see who's the artist. Brian Michael Bendis. That's fantastic man from Marvel coming over to DC. It's almost biblical move from Marvel to DC. How Daredevil's dad is now Superman's dad. A force to be reckoned with from DC comic books. Superman 13 is like an interesting comic book because it's a new Superman title, 13th issue. Something about Lois and her amazing tits again.